We're back.
Yeah, we are.
We've had a bit of a time off recently because we didn't have a floor to record the podcast on. We have a floor now. Thanks very much, Adam. Now
David told me he put it down.
Well, what did you do, Dave?
I supervised.
Hello, Bogota, and welcome to the Four Takes Movie Podcast. I'm Martin.
I'm Adam.
I'm Luke.
And I'm David.
And today we're talking about the 1985 movie Back to the Future, directed by Robert Zemeckis.
When did we go and see Back to the Future? We planned to do this?
I think it was back in November. So it's been that long. It is, was it now? It's May, isn't it?
Just 6 months.
Just 6 months ago we saw this movie.
Yeah.
It was the 40th anniversary. Mental that mind. 40th anniversary of Back to the Future.
I know.
And we saw it in the IMAX at the Metro Centre. That was transformative, I found.
Absolutely the best I've ever seen it. All of my life, I've only ever seen it on a small screen, and seeing it at the cinema was just absolutely unreal. The sound, the picture, just tremendous.
I don't know how people watch movies on their phones. I mean, I love watching movies on a telly, and I've got a big telly in the house. You've all been around. We've all watched movies on it. Mm-hmm. But I love movies in the cinema. And then I see people or hear about people watching movies on their phones, and they must just be assholes because there's no way you can enjoy that.
Which director was it who was saying that, goes, you spend millions of dollars doing this, and then people just watch it on the phones and they think they've seen it.
Yeah.
He was going absolutely apeshit about it. I can't remember which director
The
it was.
40th anniversary when we saw this film was the 14th of October.
Was it?
Yes.
We saw this in October.
Yes.
Christ. How long ago? I tell you what, when you get to our age, lads, time starts to move faster. We got to start pulling our finger out and doing more shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, before we talk about Back to the Future and our impending demise, we usually talk about the other things we've seen. So have we been to see anything?
In the last 6 months,
How about the last week?
I've been rewatching Stargate.
Oh, I love Stargate SG-1.
Yep.
One of the best shows ever made.
I've just been recently watching Chaos. It's got Jeff Goldblum in, and it's about him being Zeus from the Greek gods. It's an eye-opening sort of thing into the mythology of the Greek gods and how it all sort of plans out.
I love Jeff Goldblum. He's one of these actors that doesn't actually act. He is just get Jeff Goldblum, that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't have like a switch it on. It's more of just like a turn up for work, innit?
Yeah.
One of the first
really
films
have-
I ever saw him in was a film called Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, with Jim Carrey.
With Jim Carrey, and I think Gina Davis is in it. Before that, I'm pretty sure he was in the first Death Wish movie. Do you know Charles Bronson?
Oh, was he?
He plays one of the thugs that assault his wife and daughter.
You can't imagine him as a thug.
No.
Get on the ground.
I bet this happens with actors. I bet when he was in that, he was actually trying to act.
And you don't see Jeff Goldblum in that role. I don't think you really see him in things like The Fly, which I think really launched him. Fly's a good movie.
That was the first time I saw him in that.
It's the film that gave him wings.
All right.
Totally traumatized us.
Dear me, Adam.
This week I went to the cinema to see, I've been to the cinema 3 times this week. I went and saw Michael on Wednesday night or Tuesday night at the IMAX. A lot of critics are giving that a load of stick. And don't get me wrong, it does sanitize a lot of his early life. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really go into the later stuff, the later controversies, because it kind of ends, I think, with a bad album. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I really kind of enjoyed I watched it in the IMAX, and it's made for IMAX, so the sound was great. It's sort of bookended by a concert scene, and the sound in the concert was just great. It was a canny watch, to be honest. I don't know why people critics are absolutely panning it. And then you see, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, critics are giving it crap, but audiences are really liking it. There's a massive divide nowadays. Just don't listen to the critics. Don't listen to us. Do your own bloody thing. and see the movie yourself and make your own flipping mind up. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. Didn't give a crap what some social media influencer tells you or what some reviewer tells you. Watch it yourself and make your own mind up. Be an individual.
Yep.
I also saw The Sheep Detectives yesterday and Devil Wears Prada 2. Mm-hmm. Devil Wears Prada 2 is not as good as Devil Wears Prada 1.
Shocking.
But it's still all right. Sheep Detectives, Really excellent. Teed up a couple of times.
What's the Sheep Detectives about?
Basically, a farmer is murdered and his flock of sheep try to solve his murder.
Are you shitting me?
No. Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's in it. It's got like Julia Louis-Dreyfus as like one of the main voices. I noticed, I think there's a couple of like genuinely like teary moments in it. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. I thought it was just going to be some daft kids movie, because I tell you, I'll watch out.
Is it a kids movie?
Crying over shit.
Well, there is a murder in it.
So probably not.
No, but it's not really like a violent murder or anything like that.
Is this like
have you ever seen Knives Out?
No.
You ever seen Knives Out? Has
I've
anyone
seen
here
that.
seen Knives Out?
Yeah.
Knives Out is a good, like, sort of like, almost like a whodunit. Well, but we kind of know who's done it. Dewey, you know, a sort of movie. And it's like Knives Out mixed with a kids movie. And it was quite good. I enjoyed it.
No, right.
Better than Devil Wears Prada too.
Oh, you said that was like a Hallmark film, didn't you?
I think Devil Wears Prada 1 is brilliantly acted. The performances are great. The way the characters are written are good. And some of the lines in it are delivered so well that it elevates that movie to what it is. If it didn't have those performances, I think it would be just a middle of the road kind of movie. But because of the performances in it, it's like, and I think it's like a 4.5 out of 5. Second one, I would 3.5. So it's an octave down.
Aye. wasn't worth doing again.
No, it was fine, and it was it was quite enjoyable. You can, as I say, give it a chance. Go see anything.
Yeah, true.
Talking about seeing anything. Back to the Future, eh?
I know we better get on with this, actually. Yeah. Back to the Future, 1985, directed by Robert Zemeckis. One of the great movies of the 80s. We've all seen this multiple times on multiple formats, on VHS back in the day, DVD. I think I've had it on VHS, I've had it on DVD, I've had it on Blu-ray. I'll probably get it on 4K.
And whatever 3D holographic format comes out in the future.
3D is a gimmick. Hate it. I don't necessarily mind 3D. I used to have a 3D TV. But I do think, personally, I prefer to watch a movie in standard. Anyway, off topic. Back to the Future, what do we think?
I went to go see, was it the 40th edition? 40th
The
anniversary?
new edition? No, it's
40th
it was the
anniversary.
40th anniversary, yeah.
Yes, because it did a 35 anniversary a few years back, didn't it?
35th.
35th.
Get this lad another coffee.
When you say a few years back, you mean like 5 years.
Yes. No, but the one thing I really did enjoy about this film, but in particular, wasn't the fact that obviously it was a great experience to see such a high quality print of the film, because I've never ever seen it in an IMAX setting. But it wasn't just that. The one thing I took away from it was the fact that it had been reshaped for Dolby Atmos 7.1, and the sounds and that experience, it's just been really tweaked, I think, for this release. And when we saw it, I was quite blown away.
It was absolutely amazing at the cinema. It was a film totally made for the cinema.
Yeah.
I mean, even before going in, I was like, I'm dead excited to see the opening scene with the clocks and everything, because I knew it was going to sound amazing, and it absolutely did. And one thing what was obvious was you were picking up a lot more of the dialogue and the jokes, and because it's one of these films everyone's seen, but when you watch it in the cinema, you're picking up on a lot more things you'd normally miss or tune out on, and everybody in the cinema's all laughing at the same point, and it's like there was things I'd never laughed at before.
Yeah.
Even though I'd heard it dozens and dozens of times. It is a film totally made for the cinema, and if anything, it highlights just how bad modern cinema has become.
I was talking about this only yesterday, and I think all film now is being given this glossy look, and I'll give you an example of that. If you look at The Wrong Trousers, Wallace and Gromit, if you look at the original, the way in which that's recorded, put on screen, put on tape, as soon as they started using different post-production methods afterwards, and then it was like, oh, you need to make it sellable, it needs to look really glossy, it needs to look all like, and it changed. If you watch some of the original animations versus some of the new ones, the chalk and cheese are totally different.
So if you watch a movie that's been filmed on film, like actual film. You'll get a kind of like a grittiness to the film. It just happens. And a lot of modern films nowadays, especially ones that have been through like a filter, like a lot of. There was quite a recent re-release of a couple of the James Cameron movies, Aliens and Terminator 2. Mm-hmm. They've been upscaled to 4K, but they've been upscaled to 4K using an AI tool. And don't get me wrong, they look very celluloid. That's the wrong way to say it. They don't look really celluloid. They look very crisp and very clean, and they are interesting to look at. I think the 4K Terminator 2 is really a good watch, but everyone looks a little bit too shiny, you know, like it's gone through your beautification filter when you turn your selfie camera on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Films like Back to the Future obviously were filmed on film, and you can see that it looks like celluloid. It looks like cinema.
I think as well about the styles changing. I think it's probably due to, if you've got someone like Aardman Animation and everything's rough and ready, you can see the fingerprint and all that, and then over time, like Pixar will bring a film out and everything's super shiny, super clean and all that, and the executives in the boardrooms go, the audience want nice, clean Pixar type stuff or Disney type stuff, and that kind of informs what their decisions on the next ones, and they go, we've got to kind of move away from the rough and ready look because everyone wants this nice shiny look.
It's also very labour intensive to move a block of plasticine about.
Oh, aye.
I can only imagine how long it takes to animate a second.
I don't think anybody wants the nice shiny look.
I don't think it's required.
I think it's going to go backwards because when you look at, I mean, I've been watching these AI generated films now on the internet, and like they're really good. They're getting really, really good now. And I think there's going to be a backlash against that where people want to see the fingerprints in the clay.
The last film I saw where you think that looked really good and looked like cinema would have been The Hateful Eight, probably. But that was all shot on like
VistaVision, wasn't it, or something like that? Actually, no. There was a film that came out the other year. It was shot in VistaVision. It was
Still haven't seen that.
It was you know, seen The Hateful Eight?
No.
Solid movie. One Battle After Another with Leonardo DiCaprio. That was all shot on film, and that is a good looking movie.
That's a really good.
Oh, that's a good movie.
This is why I think like Back to the Future is fantastic, is because you can watch like the first one, you could watch the second one. Doesn't matter which order you pick to watch them in, and they're still a really good film. But it always feels as if you are watching Back to the Future, and it's because they've just used the same production methods on each individual one, so they're all look and feel the same. I don't like it when companies turn around and say, "Oh, we're going to do a film," and then it's like, "Oh, it was really good, a really good hit. Tell you what, we'll do the second one and we'll do it differently, and we'll add better cameras." And it's like, well, no, if the first one was good enough to do, it's like, what the hell?
Seeing this in the IMAX, one thing I did notice is that how good the film still looks in regards to some of its special effects.
Yeah.
We know it's dated. We know it was made in the 80s. But one thing that did not translate very well to the IMAX and is Doc Brown's latex neck makeup to make him look older. You could see that was just painted on latex.
Yeah, but if you actually watch it on like a VHS, or even probably if you watched it back in the day in the cinema, you'd never be able to tell.
No,
because you can't tell on the DVD release, really.
In the second film, where Doc he goes, "I've been to like a de-aging clinic and all that," and he pulls it off. Apparently, that is in reference to how bad the latex makeup was in the first one. So it was noticed, and then they sorted it out in the second one, so he wasn't wearing it.
I'm not maybe talking about the first one, but in the second film, what's he called? Crispin Glover.
He's not in the second one.
Yeah, but they took a cast of his face. I always thought that was him.
Oh, me too. It was only years later I found out Crispin Glover was shit can from the second.
And I'm absolute. And you know, he completely lost it over when he found out that they used his face. I would be absolutely livid and all.
Aye.
He basically turned around and said he wanted the royalties for that as well, because he was saying like literally
you've used his image,
you've used in likeness of my image, and they're like,
because if that happened now, you would sue and you would win massively. Mm-hmm. But back then, image rights wasn't really a thing. For me, he's like the best actor in the first film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So obviously, in the first film, your main actors were Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly. You had Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown. You had, is it Leah Thompson?
Yeah, that sounds right.
As Lorraine.
Lorraine.
And then you had Crispin Glover as
George.
As George McFly.
But Crispin Glover basically got blackballed for the fallout from that. Because he was a really good actor.
I've seen him in some crazy films, like, and he pushes it to 11 in everything he's in. Like.
But that's the only sort of work he could get. He was after that. He was.
Did he do any voiceover work?
Oh yeah, he was in Beowulf.
Was he? I thought he did.
Yes, he played. Is it Grindelwald or something like that?
Yeah, because it was the first time he worked with Robert Zemeckis after Back to the Future. So
hell on.
So I mean, they must have made up, because otherwise he wouldn't have been in that film.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved everything about this film. From the opening scenes, the bit which made me realise that I was going to enjoy the film more than I'd ever enjoyed it ever in my life was the bit where Marty goes to the Twin Pine Mall parking lot, and then you see the back of the lorry open up and the DeLorean reverses off the tracks, and it looked gorgeous. Absolutely, like the brake lights and the indicators and all that, and the noise, the sound of it. You go, oh my god, that is a good looking car, and they made it look stunning in that film.
But what's crazy is right, if someone was trying to make a film just like this now, it wouldn't be as good.
What could you use?
The sound wouldn't be as good. The visuals wouldn't be as good, and I don't understand why. And it's just,
I'd love to watch a video on how they did all the sound for that film, because like some of the sound effects and everything are absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, the sound, especially when we were watching the IMAX, was unreal. The soundtrack as well. It was just really great in that movie. I mean, Alan Silvestri knocked it out of the water with that. And Alan Silvestri is probably more well known for nowadays for doing the Avengers soundtracks.
They're shit. In comparison, it's like Back to the Future all the way.
But it's all digital. Digital processing just kills everything. It's no good. Even if you look at it, another example would be like music. If you look back to music from the 70s or the 60s, it always sounds truly amazing compared to a record you listen to now. There's like no life in like the like new music at all.
I think it's because a lot of things now are made with DAWs, like digital audio workstations, and it's all software and mouse clicks and all of that. And when you're looking at things that are made in the 70s, like Star Wars, I'm thinking about sound effects again, where they came up with the sound of the lightsabers by moving like a rod in front of a CRT TV, and that's how they got the sound. I was watching something the other day. What's that one with Annihilation? That's it.
Natalie Portman.
Is it Natalie Portman?
It's Natalie Portman, yeah.
And you know, like
that screaming bear bit.
And the bit where it sounds like sound effects at the end, and it also sounds like score, and it's like that. And you see people use it in TikTok videos now because it's like so like iconic to that scene. And I was watching the guy who made it, and he's doing it with a Moog synthesizer, and he's basically just patching all this stuff in, twiddling knobs, and watching the film, and then like reacting to what's happening on the film with like these little knob twiddles. That's how it would have been done in the 70s, with like some crazy guy on a big synth going like twiddling knobs, and not like all these little structured mouse clicks and everything.
Even like sound effects now, you get the feeling that if they've just got a massive library of sound effects that have been copied and reprocessed, and the quality just degrades and gets smoothed out. I remember watching. I remember watching. I can't remember what it was. It was like one of the DVD extras from a film that was made. It was late 90s. And it showed you someone from the sound department in the film industry going, "Oh, this is how he made the sound effect." And he was like going out into sort of like a field with a coin or something, and he was like banging it on there like a high tension wire that was holding up like a power line or a phone line, and it was making like a weird metallic noise.
It goes,
and we go, and that was like, that's one sound effect, and this is.
Well, do you know what that was famously used in?
It'll have been Star Wars, was
The
it?
Star Wars, all of the phaser blasts. That is exactly how they made all the phaser blast sounds off a high tension cable.
Just whacking a coin off a table.
But there's loads of like really famous sound effects that get used in all films.
So what you're talking about is called Foley sound design, named after the bloke who like invented the practice art. The sounds that you're watching on the screen can't always be picked up by the microphone, so you have to create them in post-production. Like if you see a man riding across the desert on a horse and you can hear the stirrups jangling and you can hear like the leather moving and all that's put in afterwards because the microphones can't pick it up. And if you did that on location, you'd be picking up the sound of like the fan in the background clacking away and all that. So you get
the truck that's chasing the horse with the camera on it.
Yeah, like all that kind of stuff. So this is the movie magic, but all that stuff now, like you were saying, it's like you people create like library CDs and then they'll just go, oh, we need like a little squeak or a scrape or a bump or a there, so we'll just put it in. And previously people would have actually done that and performed it live. And but the best example I've ever seen of this is I watched a documentary on it like late one night when I was about 12-year-old, and I was like, this is absolutely amazing. It was who did the sound design for Alien, and you know like how it's like this horrible like, you know, like creature and it's all slimy and all that, and they were showing you how they did it. And what this guy did before he went off to work, he went shopping and he went around the supermarket and he was like, right, okay, I need a lettuce. He got into the studio with his microphone and he was watching the TV, and he was watching the TV and he's watching like the alien in Alien move around the screen. He's slowly like crunching this lettuce and it's making all these squeaking and like
Celery's another one, isn't it?
Oh, celery's for bones breaking.
In the original Back to the Future script, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but originally it was you weren't ever going to have a DeLorean, and the idea was that it was going to be a fridge.
Yeah.
And they didn't want the fridge.
It's a little Bill and Ted, that, like, too much.
Yeah, well, it's like the phone booth in Bill and Ted, isn't it?
Yeah, and the reason they said you can't have a fridge, well, why not? They went, well, because you'll have thousands of kids climbing into bloody fridges and it's dangerous. And that's why...
It would have killed the franchise as well. I mean, what the hell, how are they going to pull off the sequel?
Well, I think that's why they said, well, how else would you get back in time? And it's like, well...
The interesting thing is, or like 30 years later, they put Indiana Jones in a fridge.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they did.
The thing about putting Indiana Jones in the fridge is him travelling back through time in a fridge was more believable than being protected from a nuclear blast.
Yeah, literally flew probably a couple of dozen kilometres in a fridge and lands and gets out and is perfectly fine. They're expecting to believe that he was going to be okay, but had to put him in the car and did the same thing and launched him 2 kilometres across the sky and landed, everyone go, well, he's dead, isn't he? But no, the fridge obviously, famously protects you from all injuries.
What should have happened when someone should have opened the door and said, what's in there? So like, I don't know, like a load of jam, a fedora and a bullwhip.
Oh, this podcast's going to be messy today. Let's talk about the structure of Back to the Future then. So the film starts out and it's as a kid who's late for school. He meets up with his girlfriend before he goes to school, gets detention. He's got a friendship with some guy who you only know as the Doc. And then he goes to a parking lot in the middle of the night. Terrorists attack. And then we're in a time traveling movie. Like, this is like the first 15 minutes of the movie.
We're in 1955.
We're in
20 minutes
in the first 15 minutes, we've had a terrorist attack. We've had a nuclear-powered time machine. Mm-hmm. We've had him defrauding the terrorists because he was going to make a nuclear bomb for them, but he lied to them about that. Yeah. So they murdered him on screen, and then the kid accidentally goes back to 1955 and starts a little bit of an affair with his mother.
I mean,
hilarious.
Also, plot holes. So some terrorists, some Libyans, hire a man to make a nuclear bomb, and then after he makes it for them, they go, okay, you go back to your life now, everything's fine.
What about the first 15 minutes of this movie makes you feel like this is based in reality?
I don't think they actually turned around and said, go back to your life, everything's fine.
Well, we don't know.
I think, yeah. I think as well, because he said he ripped them off, didn't he? He says he swapped it out for a load of parts from like
radio guts or something.
Pinball machines.
Pinball machine.
That's it, yeah.
So he basically says, I've given him a load of pinball machine parts and I took their uranium, plutonium for his own...
for his DeLorean.
No.
But, it actually explains what's going on quite well in the opening scenes with all the clocks. And then in the background, you've got the TV talking about the plutonium theft,
yeah,
and things like that. And there's foreshadowing, which I love, of Doc hanging from the clock tower. That scene is based on a Buster Keaton silent movie where he's hanging off the clock tower. And at the end of the film, that foreshadows what happens to Doc. Marvellous storytelling.
It's a belter.
He goes to the past, thinks he's dreaming, and then he gets knocked over by
Lorraine's dad.
His
granddad.
His grandfather, yeah.
One thing I like about when he goes back in time, he ends up in a farm, in like a barn.
Uh-huh.
And
Old Man
Peabody's pine tree. He had a dream of growing pine trees. And when he tears out of this barn...
pine trees.
Breeding pine trees, yeah.
When he...
Old Man Peabody turned out to be a complete psychopath as well.
Exactly. He comes after him with a shotgun. And when Marty tears out of this barn in this DeLorean, there are 2 pine trees and he runs one over.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the beginning of the movie, when he goes to the parking lot where the terrorists attack, it's called the Twin Pines Mall.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the movie, when he goes back, it's called the Lone Pine Mall.
I didn't even say that. I mean, the Lone Pine and Twin Pine thing, I never... ever clocked onto that until it was mentioned to me, and that was years ago. But
you probably would have spotted it in the cinema.
I think you probably would have. But I think sometimes when you're watching it on a TV or a old style TV, it's like,
Mm-hmm. And the good thing about it was as well, they didn't make a big thing of that change. It was just like on repeated view, and if you didn't see it the first time, you caught it the second time, you're like, oh my god, it's a Lone Pine Mall now. But like had the mall sign like big in the frame, but it was just like, it's just kind of off to the side, and if you notice it, you notice it, and if you don't, you don't. But it's like little details like that.
I like that because a lot of the story around this has little things that aren't actually just talked about, but they're there, and it's like a hidden gem. When you find it, you're like, oh, you can watch it again and again and again, and still find things that you might not have seen the first time around.
Yeah, things that are in the future. When you go to the past, you see how everything's trundling along. So in the beginning, it's like, re-elect Mayor Goldie Wilson. Mm-hmm. And then when he goes to the past, the first place he goes is the cafe, and Goldie's mopping the floor.
Yeah.
and then the foreshadowing for him is,
well, Marty puts the idea in his head about becoming mayor.
Yeah, he does. He goes,
you're going to be mayor. I like the sound of that.
Mayor Goldie Wilson. He goes,
I can sweep up this town.
Yeah, he can start by cleaning the floor.
It's got some great lines in, hasn't it?
It is absolutely tremendous.
But it also shows you kind of how cyclical it is. Mm-hmm. So, like, this is going to continue to happen, because obviously, at the end, when he does go back, the attack still happens. His future self, or his past self, is now going back in time, and he has to start the whole process over again.
Yeah. And was Marty always destined to go in the past? Because if he hadn't done that, maybe Mayor Goldie Wilson would never have been a thing.
Well, potentially, but also, he obviously did almost railroad his own birth, because rather than his granddad hitting George McFly, he hit him.
Yeah.
And he was the one who was taken in to be looked after, at which point Lorraine would have fallen in love with his dad, but instead fell in love with Marty. Ooh.
Yeah. Something went wrong.
Uh-oh. And then he goes to find Doc Brown, and he convinces Doc Brown that he's from the future. He tells him about the flux, how he came up with the idea about the flux capacitor, and then he's still got like the camcorder with him, so he can show him like images of the future. And at that point, Doc Brown can work out how we can get back to the future by getting this energy 1.21 gigawatts.
1.21 gigawatts.
See, the thing with that as well is I think it was very lucky in his timing, because if you actually watched when he says you were hanging a clock and you slipped and you hit your head on the basin, and that's how you came up with the flux capacitor. But if you looked at him as he was telling him, he still had the scar on the top of his head with a bandage over, as if it had just happened last week.
No, it did. So what happened was, well, in the future, when he's explaining how the control panel works on the car, he says, how about we go back to 1985? Or how about we go to this date in 1955? And he goes, yeah, that date, 1955, that's the day I came up with the idea of time travel. I fell down and hit my head in the toilet, and I came up with the idea of the flux capacitor. So he actually went back to the day. He travelled back to the day when Doc Brown actually came up with the idea. Obviously, in the meantime, he got knocked over, spent a night in his mum's house, and then went to find him the next day. So it is like literally maybe a day or two later after he's come up with the idea of the flux capacitor. And then all of a sudden, a kid turns up claiming to be from the future.
Able to tell him about the injury he had earlier on that day.
Exactly. It's all very well. I'm thinking about it now. It's like extremely well written.
Yeah.
So he's convinced him he's from the future, and now they've got to try and work out how to get him back to the future. So hence the name of the movie.
So they know that on a particular date, 2 weeks in the future, there's going to be a lightning strike on the clock tower in the town centre, which was foreshadowed in the very beginning, where the lady's saying save the clock tower, and then she goes into history about how the clock's never worked since the day that it was struck by lightning on that particular day, that 2 weeks ahead, 2 weeks in the future from when he arrives in the past. So he knows when the lightning strike's going to be, and Doc Brown, being a man of science, knows exactly how much energy is in a lightning strike. 1.21 gigawatts, or not gigawatts.
Is it gigawatts? I thought.
Well, he calls it gigawatts, and but it is gigawatts. and at some point, Marty goes, "What the hell's a gigawatt?"
What the hell's a gigawatt? At the end, Doc is like, so just stay here for 2 weeks, and no one will know you're here. And then he goes, well, I've actually already made my mother fall in love with me. So the rest of this
is disastrous.
So just this 2 week period between him being able to go home due to this lightning strike, he's got to try and get his parents to fall in love and get back together, or he's not going to be born in the future, and all this is just going to, I don't know where it's going to end.
But I did like it, like when it was like, why? Because like Marty was sort of sitting, and he says, why couldn't it be sooner? Why couldn't the lightning strike be sooner? Because he could foresee the longer you were staying there, he was just fumbling everything. Like, he'd saved his dad from being hit by a car. He now had his mother, and now he's starting to make enemies with Biff.
Yeah,
Biff, one of the great villains of movie history, the bully.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's excellent. Thomas F. Wilson, isn't it? Yeah. I watched an interview with him the other day. He was talking about what the film actually is. And he goes, it's got the time-travelling car, it's got the cool kid and the crazy scientist who went, but actually, ultimately, what it comes down to is the line, no, Biff, you take your hands off her. And he said, that's what the film's all about. It's about, like, George standing up for himself, because in the future, George is absolutely unable.
He's whipped, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have that capability in him. But because Marty goes back and tells him that he can do this, his own son, that gives him what he needs to be able to stand up to the bully. But Thomas F. Wilson was saying, this is what the film is about, perseverance and overcoming things, and that's why everybody likes it, because everybody loves the part where George lays Biff out. And it's like,
it's not even the only time he overcomes a bully in the movie. So he lays Biff out, and then he goes to the dance, and then that ginger kid comes along and starts trying to get in on
step back, McFly, I'm cutting in.
and then he just pushes him to the floor, and it's like, he's got it now. George has got it.
The music swells, he kisses Lorraine, and it's like, hey, and he's done it again.
Now it's back to the plot. We've got to get him back to the future.
Yeah,
But yeah, Lorraine and George are going to be happily married and going to have Marty, because his picture comes back. He's got this picture that's been slowly fading through the whole movie, but now all the kids are back in the picture, and now he's got to get back to this clock tower so he can get to the future. He tries to slip Doc Brown a note to let him know that on the night that he comes back, he's going to be murdered. But he's like, you can't change the future, da da da, blah blah. And then obviously he goes to the future, and then tears it over to the mall to see what's happened. Obviously sees Doc get murdered again, and then his previous self goes back into the past again.
So he sees himself.
And starts the circle again. And then he goes over and he's crying his eyes out, and then obviously Doc Brown's actually alive, and he did actually read the letter, and all is well in the world.
Yeah, he's wearing a bulletproof vest.
He's wearing a bulletproof vest. They go back to, living their lives. Doc Brown goes off in the DeLorean. He goes to pick up his girlfriend and finds out that his family has become elevated from what they were previously. Rather than George McFly being a wimp, as you said, who's been walked on all his life, he's now a confident individual.
His mother was an alcoholic.
His mother was an alcoholic. Now he's a confident individual, and they have a good, long-lasting, loving relationship. He's an author. All the children are successful.
Yeah.
No one's working at I think one of the siblings was working at like a hot dog place or something like that.
Yeah.
And now they're all
McDonald's.
they're all successful, and then you go out and you see Biff is waxing the car.
Yeah.
And his Uncle Joey, not a jailbird no more.
Better get used to these bars, kid.
But yeah, and it all looks like great, and then him and his girlfriend are about to embrace and kiss, and then all of a sudden, the DeLorean shoots back into it, and Doc Brown comes in wearing a plastic tie and a grey bin bag as a jacket.
And now the DeLorean's powered by bananas.
Mr. Fusion.
Yeah. Coffee machine.
Aye. And then he says, "We need to go.
Something's got to be done about your kids."
And then the famous last line is like, "Where we're going, we don't need roads." Knocks the sunglasses down, and the DeLorean starts to fly and peels off, and then end the movie. But we know we're getting a second.
Tremendous.
We know we're getting a second. I bet people back in '85 didn't.
Well, no, they didn't know they were getting a second one. At the very end, when the car takes off, they just thought that would be a cool way to end the film. When they did that, and the executives went, "So when's the second one coming out? And we want more of this flying car." They were like, "We just did that for like the shiggles, really, because it was just something cool." And then they had to write the whole flying car thing into the future based on their decision to do that at the very end of the film, the last film. So that's why Back to the Future 2 looks the way it does, because of that one decision about making the car fly off at the end.
One thing you said earlier as well about how they all kind of keep a continuity in the way they look. It's because the second and third movie were filmed at exactly the same time.
That's the thing. You tend to find after a reboot, Indiana Jones, the Crystal Skull one.
Yeah,
it's just
the
totally different.
CGI schlock that was Crystal Skull looks miles, a world apart from the original sort of practical special effects of the original. I stop at Last Crusade for me when it comes to Indiana Jones. Criminal Crystal Skull, it's fine, but it looks bad. The last film is shit.
I haven't seen it yet.
But that's the thing.
There's a choice at the end.
You can't necessarily say it's fine, but it's not good because
it's shit.
But well,
my opinion, the last Indiana Jones was crap.
But the one before that, the Crystal Skull one, you said it was.
It was fine, but it looked bad.
This is what really annoys me about Hollywood at the minute, right? They've got the successful formula, Indiana Jones, right? People absolutely loved it, but what they decided is we need to expand the market for it. Men like this film, Indiana Jones, but they completely ignore the fact that women also liked the original Indiana Jones, but they went, it's a bloke's film. So we now need to make it appeal more to women. So what we'll do is we'll make Indiana Jones a bumbling old fool who needs the help of this woman. And that's what they did. So we'll just tear up the entire idea of Indiana Jones and just...
I've got no problem with it being like Indiana Jones has a lot of trouble because he was like 70 when he's 70 now,
Aye.
He's gonna have trouble swinging from things. His hip might click on the odd run away from a boulder or something like that. But don't make him a clumsy idiot.
Aye. Yeah, it's like an injustice to the character, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
If you're going to do that, there's no point in making the film.
Yeah.
Because that's not what Indiana Jones was or is.
See, this is the thing where the people do reboots and stuff like that, and then they get the rights to go, oh yeah, you can go make this, and it's gonna be thing. And what they try to do is to try to add more depth to a character, and the feel every time.
What's happening nowadays in movies, and it's because attention spans are a lot less nowadays. So they're trying to They're trying to tell you the movie over and over again through the movie, and that annoys me. Like someone's reiterating the plot like every 20 minutes. I'm like, I know what's happened. I've just watched it. I'm not on my phone. I'm watching it. But that's the problem. People don't watch movies anymore. They sit with it on, and then they're on their phone.
Yeah.
Doing something else. Any road.
Can I get back to a point about the very end of the film and Crispin Glover?
Yeah.
So at the end of the film, as was said, Marty goes home. He wakes up in the morning. His mum and dad come in from playing tennis. The good looking, she's thin. Oh, Mum, you're so thin. His dad's like dashing and all that, and he's in his sport coat, and his sister and brother are sitting there having breakfast, and they're like dressed to go to work, which was an unusual thing. Biff's outside waxing the car. Anyway, Crispin Glover had like major issues with that. He says, what you're suggesting here is Marty's future is happier because his parents are rich. And it was all about the material things, because the emphasis was on, like, you know...
He's got the nice car and the guy.
He's got the car he always wanted in the garage. His mum and dad are sort of like wealthy and successful. His dad's successful. His sister's successful and all this. And there's money and privilege and status and all that with it. And he said that's what he was like really unhappy about. And that's what caused a load of aggro right at the very end of the film, where he was protesting against it all. And then when it came time for the second film to come round, and he went, well, I want some more cash. And they went, you know what, you were an arsehole last time at the end of the last film. No to your money and no to your points of view. Jog on. And that's another reason why he didn't get brought back for the second one, because of how the end of the first film ended. I thought it was all right. I understand what he was saying, but...
pretty valid points. I think the thing is, I think it's for where they look at it and go, well, your points are valid, but we can't make it fly, and we've already agreed to do this.
There had to be a payoff.
There had to be a payoff, and there had to be an absolute contrast to how his life was before. So if his life before was everything was like mundane, and his dad was like a pushover, and everything was a struggle, you had to show the exact opposite of that.
But it was the 80s, and the 80s was all about money.
Excess, wasn't it?
It was like the Reagan era, wasn't it?
It was like it was like a massive economic boom, and like everyone was... It was like money was all over the place in America, and so was coke, and so it was just absolute.
It was the 80s.
It was
Miami Vice.
It was just
Wall
excess.
Street.
That's what it was. It was
Ferraris.
absolute excess in the 80s.
How we're going to rate this film? What would you give it out of 5?
5 out of 5 for me. It's great. It's nostalgic as well. Not only is it a good movie, but it makes me remember, my childhood and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would give this 11 out of 10. This could be the greatest film I've ever seen in my life. Everything about it is absolutely amazing. The visuals are tremendous. The characters are tremendous. The story is tremendous. The music is absolutely unbelievable. Just everything about it. I can't pick a fault with this film. The best part of this film as well, the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, where he's playing guitar.
Yeah, Chuck Berry.
Yeah. Absolutely, and Michael J. Fox actually played that. Unreal. What a film!
So is that actually, we haven't done this? Is that your favourite part of the movie?
That is probably my favourite. Well, one of many.
Any bad bits?
No, no.
Adam?
I think, I'd basically go and say it's a 10 out of 10 film. Like, there's not many that come close. One of my favourite parts of it, the time machine. It's like when
it drives out.
It's just when it drives out. I think it's like it's part of the journey. It's you're sitting in, and it's like, well, what's going to happen next?
I would agree. My favourite part of the whole movie is the car. It's weird, but it's the car when it's moving, and it's like they're pressing the buttons, and the sound of its engine, and it tearing around the car park, and it racing down that street at the end. Just the sound of it is amazing. That's my favourite part.
Yeah, perfect movie, 10 out of 10. Favourite bit, probably when Biff gets knocked out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The build-up for that's great.
I like how he spins around twice before he actually falls down.
I don't have any parts of this film that I don't necessarily not like. I think it's I can't sit and say I don't like that, or I think it should be different.
Can't even nitpick. I can't even think of anything remotely bad.
No.
I mean, if you would ask us about maybe it's the third film, I could probably nitpick on that one, but it's still a pretty sound.
I don't think the second or the third film are as good as the first film, but still, as a collection, as a trilogy.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
How would you rate them? Here we go. This is a good game. How would you rate them at the 3? I would put the first one first, then the third, then the second.
The third, you're wrong.
I would put them in that order: first, second, and third.
Yeah, me as well.
I would do.
I don't like the second one.
You don't like the second one.
Is it because of Biff?
And it's because when
David will not be back next time.
it's when he alters the future and it all goes to shit. I don't like it.
Oh, and it turns into modern day America.
I don't like it.
It turns into modern day Vegas with anyway.
Well, do you not say that's the point? It's invoked the right feeling from you if you didn't like it.
Yeah, you're not. I hate that bit. I hate that bit when he goes to the future and like Biff's in charge and it's a shithole.
Yeah, but so who wants to say something that they don't like?
Trump's in charge
because he beats it.
Because that's you need something.
I don't want to have to sit through something that doesn't look nice.
You need to accept the world for what it is, and its problems included.
You need to embrace the fact that the directors and the writers wanted to make you feel uncomfortable, and that's what you felt, and that's why it's good.
They win.
No, I'd say the third film, it doesn't have any of that, and it's fine.
I think the third film's the least of them, personally.
One of the reasons why I didn't like the third film's always never been up to par for me. I remember the first time I watched it, I'd watched it on a pirate copy.
I did as well, and it ruined it.
It ruined it.
I cannot say anything bad about the first film, and I can say plenty bad about the second film. But the third film, even though it's my second favourite out of the 3, the worst part of the third film is Michael J. Fox pretending to be Irish.
Seamus McFly.
I
mean, he's a very likeable actor, but he cannot do an Irish accent.
In the second film, he played he played his own son and his own daughter, and he did an absolutely class job there.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable, because I think I was about, I don't know, I must have been about 15. I was like, oh my God, the daughter is Michael J. Fox.
But that's it. He obviously just can't do accents.
He can't do an Irish accent. Right, brilliant. We love it.
A triumph.
Absolutely. So, what are we going to watch next time?
Another 6 months. I mean, there could be anything out at the cinema.
Well, I've already paused this to Luke. The third June movie is going to come out this year.
Oh, God. I have not watched the first or the second one.
Well, that's fine. I think this might be worth doing for our next podcast. Come round mine, we'll have a couple of movie watching sessions, or we'll watch the 1st and 2nd June.
I couldn't get through the first film. I was so bored.
Chill out. You're going to sit through it, and we're going to... that's just an option. It doesn't have to be June. I'm just saying that we've got movies coming up that I know I want to see in the IMAX, and I think you want to see in the IMAX as well. Mm-hmm. Why don't we have a watch of them and then get ready for the third one coming out in December?
I'll do that. Oh, God. Did you try and watch the first June?
I've tried as well. I find it difficult.
The first movie, I'll be honest with you. The first movie is great, but it's hard because there's a lot you need to pick up, and then by the time the second one comes around, it's all fun because you've done all the hard work on the first one.
I'm up for that.
You watch it in my house. We'll have the bows on. I'll have some beers and pizzas for you. So we're going to do June 1 and June Part 1 and Part 2.
What, in one sitting?
No, we'll do it in a couple of scenes. Look how long it took us to get to this podcast. We'll be here in November doing that.
This reminds me of the very first podcast we did, the Matrix one.
So we know what we're going to be doing in November. What we're going to do on the next podcast?
I'll go take a while.
We'll do 2 in the next month.
So we've got a plan. We've got a plan for the June build up in November. So
are we going to review June 1 and June 2?
I think do them all in one go and just do it like a giant dune.
Yeah, so great. So that's something we're going to do in November.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do
December.
What probably January by the time we get round to it. So what we're going to. So that's next year. So what we're going to do for the next podcast?
I don't know.
Are we going to do an 80s film?
Let's stick with the 80s. Why not?
How about Taxi Driver? Or you could do Raging Bull, or you could do...
No, I've never seen Taxi Driver.
Solid.
What do you want to do?
He struggled with 7.
Godfather? I love The Godfather.
I've only ever watched that once. I watched Godfather 1, 2 and 3.
Have we done a horror movie yet?
I don't like horror movies.
Oh, you pussy.
No, I don't think we have done horror. I mean, like Seven's probably the closest we've come to doing like proper
could do
horror.
with
Or
Fly.
The Thing. No, we did Think. Oh my god.
What about Stir Crazy?
We did The Thing, you're right.
Aye, The Thing? Aye.
Stir Crazy, not horror.
No, I said, what about it?
Stir Crazy. Is that the one in prison?
Could do Blazing Saddles.
Spaceballs.
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 Spaceballs is coming out.
Spaceballs is coming out.
I think Spaceballs is the one. Like,
Right. So we're going to do Spaceballs.
Looks like Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, get in.
Okay.
I could literally go into a 2-hour diatribe now about Spaceballs.
Well, that's what we're hoping.
So next time we're going to watch Spaceballs, directed by Mel Brooks. A fun time will be had by all. Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm Martin.
I'm Adam.
I'm Luke.
And I'm David.
And thank you for listening to the Four Takes Movie Podcast. See ya.
Bye.
Peace out.